Hey guys, I had been in the process of making some salve for one of my neighbors for poison ivy for a little Christmas gift, as well as giving her some other salve that I got already made up. But I thought I'd run through my herbs for you right quick and let you know that these are some of the things that I'm sure I'll be breaking down individually to do videos on, especially as they grow and I can show you what they look like better in their natural form, because most of this stuff is either dried or I've done made tinctures out of, or they're already infused into oils and different things. But I'll run through them. Sorry, it looks like a mess to try to get all this out here. Some things I have got to do since I've been at this property, but most of it is stuff that I've raised from my property before, but some of it's stuff that I can even find here, and I think I'll probably mention it as I go by. But anyway, let me start with my tinctures. These are all my tinctures. I saved these olive oil bottles that I get and use those to make tinctures.
Some of them aren't. All these are tinctures. This is punk root, which is very good for your liver. Red clover, which is very good for women. It's a great tea. Wormwood, which is good for parasites and stuff. I use this with my goats and my dogs a lot of times. Rosemary, which I do the same with it. I add it with my goats and my dogs, and I also use that in my pig spray. The feverfew, it's got a lot of different properties in it. It's a bitter herb, and generally any bitter herbs are good for detoxing of the body. And all of those are either raised or
they've grown in the wild, like the poke root grows in the wild, the red clover, and that all grows in the wild. I have gotten my feverfew established here on this property so far, so I know I've got it going. The arnica I had purchased, I've tried to get it started at my other property and wasn't able to, but these are my jewelweed. This is jewelweed and plantain that I infused. This one with vinegar, and which is what this is too. And this one here has been infused with oil, which I also added calendula in this one when I infused it. So that's the things I'm using for the salve I'm making for my neighbor over here. That's for poison ivy. And the jewelweed is something I found on this property that I had been wanting for a long time and couldn't find any just out foraging. And so I was ready to order some, and I went out this past September, because I go out about once a week and kind of walk over the property and forage for things that's blooming new and stuff like that, just trying to find out what all is here on this property. And that was one that's here on this property that I was very excited about to be able to have. These are some of my dried, and this here's yarrow, which that's yarrow as well. This is the yarrow I keep within my kitchen, and this is my extra that I keep in my book. I use that in several different things, from my salves to teas. It's kind of a bitter one as well. It's got a lot of great properties. I can't think right now off the top of my head. But anyway, like I said, we'll be going through these things individually as time goes. This is my candula. There's some more candula. And sorry, I ain't even got my camera over there. I'm reading my stuff. And it's very soothing for your skin. This is one of the things that's in my, I guess you'd call it my master salve. I call it Tug Salve, T-U-G. And that stands for Thank You God, because I'm very excited about the fact that God has created so many different things for our healings. If we would just try to learn about it and know that God's got things out there for us. I'm not one that is above going to the doctor, by no means. I think that's very important. But I also think that God gave us things to take care of ourselves, that if we utilize them properly, not counting the fact that most of everything here, if not everything here, has all kinds of minerals and vitamin consistencies as well. They're edibles. A lot of these things are edible. All that, well, I think everything is edible, but this poke root is, I mean, you can take it eternally, but it's not something you just want to go eat if you're hungry. I'll put it that way. You wouldn't want to feverfew if you tasted it. So neither of those, that won't make a good tea. But wormwood won't make a good tea. But those are things that are detoxing and such. I need to just move on here. Oregano, which is some I raised from my other property. Wormwood. This is a very good herb for your goats and chickens and stuff like that. You can throw it either in their feed or make a, I've got an actual tincture that I've made that's got the wormwood, rosemary, and there's 2 more I got in it. I'll have to get that. I'll get it in a minute and I'll show it to you because it's wrote on it what I got in it. My basil, this came from this property this year. I raised dandelions. This is, part of this is this year's and part of it's, well, no, this is probably this year's, and I've already went through what I had from the year before. And then red clover, which is something everybody gets, and it's very good as well for females, especially. It makes a really good tea. The dandelion makes a really good tea. It's very detoxing. Echinacea, some more oregano, chamomile. I don't have this label, but I know what it is. And I grabbed that right before we left from our other property to get some more because I had used pretty much all I had in my salves because I made up extra salve before we moved, so that, because I knew it would probably be a little while before I got some more made because getting everything reestablished. So this is, a lot of this is going to be for seed. Milk thistle, which that's a tincture, and this is a little bottle of it that I have that's very good for your liver, to protect your liver and such. Dandelion root, this is also dandelion root. I've already got it. This came from this property, which I think this came from the other property, but it's just stuff I had here. This was a huge thing of dandelion root I was able to pull up, so I got that sucker in some. This is actually vinegar because I didn't have no alcohol at the time. I used vodka, cheap vodka, to do this because it's just, you know, it pulls out, like with my herbal stuff for the goats, I really use vodka because I want it to pull out everything it can possibly pull out. With this one here, though, I've actually just used the vinegar in it. St. John's wort, a lot of properties. I use this in my salves. This is good for so many different things. It's good for, and it's an antidepressant. Oh, my brain. It's anti-inflammatory. It's good for stings, insect bites, burns, rashes, anything like that. It's really good for. There's some more poke root that's in a tincture form that's in a smaller thing for me. This is some St. John's wort oil that I infused. Yarrow, tinctured, chamomile oil that I've made, and dandelion root that is in the tinctured form, which I had plenty, but I just seen that big old thing of dandelion and I just had to get it because it was, you don't see, it's hard to dig up roots that big around sometimes. But anyway, this is some I've purchased. This is lungwort and colt's foot. Both of these are good for your lungs, respiratory and such. This is my beeswax. I didn't go over this. Let me go over this first. I want to finish on my salve. Goldenrod I harvested off of this property this year. This is pretty easy to find. And there's some that's in a vinegar getting ready. I done my yarrow for you already. This is nettle. This is my have herb if I don't have anything else. And I got some started over here because I pulled it up by root. I saved me a bunch of seed too, but I also took me some up from root. And I got a piece started, and it grew a little this year, but I know that next year it'll probably do 10 times better. I may need to move where I got it at, have it at. So I don't know, I'm seeing, but it's still living. It'll even actually just kind of stay enough alive for you to know it's alive in the winter. So I know it's going to do good. My lemon balm didn't do worth a flip. And I'm hoping when I go through my seeds that I got some seed from it, because I cannot remember if I do or not. But it died off. I brought some of it over here, and that surprised me because lemon balm is very evasive, and it didn't do good. It died on me. This is blackberry leaves, and I got this from my other property, but that is all over the place here, as well as wild raspberry, which I'm excited about the wild raspberry. These are very good for female parts. It makes a good tea. I like to give it to my female goats whenever they are pregnant. I make sure that they get plenty of blackberries whenever they're pregnant out here, just in the pastures and stuff like that. But something I have used this for, and I don't want to, I'm not no doctor, vet, or nothing like that, by no means, but all I can tell you is what it done for me. But I had a doe that had 3 babies, and she wouldn't have nothing to do with the third one. And so I started bottle feeding it, and it started getting the scours, which is a diarrhea that animals get. I call it scours. And I made it a bottle of that. I gave it an ounce in the morning and an ounce in the afternoon for 2 days, and by the third day, its diarrhea was completely normal. I mean, there was no diarrhea at all anymore. Completely normal. So that was a major blessing for me. And it's supposed to do that for humans as well. And so I'm a firm believer in it, put it that way. All right, let me put this on pause and I'll go show you some other things. Okay, guys, I had mentioned my coop spray that I make, and what I do with that is I take my basil stalks at the end of the year and any scraps of rosemary, and I add cinnamon to it, cinnamon sticks. I usually just get them from the Dollar Tree and throw the cinnamon sticks in there. And you can throw some clove in there, which is good too if you want, or use the essential oils, what I usually do. But it smells amazing, and I really think my chickens like it. And it helps to take that's another thing of it. It helps to keep the flies down. It's really good about that. And I love it. I think it's the bomb. I think my chickens like it. They just seem like they're more happy whenever they come in the barn and it's like that. This is the dewormer I was talking to about. It's also an immune booster. I haven't been as faithful with this since we have moved, just because there's been too much going on, and for a while I didn't put this in the forefront of my stuff to know where exactly it was at. And this is all I've actually got left, and I knew I was going to have to make some more up because it wasn't going to be enough to last long either. But this has got black walnut in it. That's another thing I harvest, is I make a tincture out of black walnut. And there's a certain way to do that as well. It's not just go grab a black walnut and stick it in alcohol. So I'll have to definitely go over some of these things with you. The wormwood, the inchinese is in here, and I also put some green tea in here because green tea, has a lot of antioxidants, and that way it gives a little extra boost in their immunity as well with that. Okay, guys, I'll hush with that. Well, I will add this. I do have mullein on this property, which I've got plenty of that. I had mullein before too, but was out of it, so I don't have any over here. And I keep saying I'm going to harvest some here, but I haven't done it yet. And I actually got some that I can even harvest right now. And it's actually a good time to harvest mullein, in my opinion. I'll put it that way. Y'all have seen me do my ginger, so you know kind of how I do that. I wrote down here, wild violet. I have wild violet that I brought from my old property because I wasn't sure if it was even on this property or not. But I did find a couple places where there is some wild violet that I use a lot. But I use it more in salads, and it's just natural form, and just eat it. And wild violet is a blood purifier. Chickweed. I was really kind of bummed over this, and I'll find some eventually. But I had chickweed all over the place over my other property. It just grew wild by itself. And I just assumed that it would be here. And I thought that, I went over this property, and but I still didn't see it. But I didn't get any, but I'm going to check out my dad's, and my dad might have some, and I can get some started over here because chickweed's a very good one. And plantain, just about everybody in the United States has got plantain. So it's all over the place here as well as my other property, so I know I've still got that. I think that's all that I can think of off the top of my head. There's some things that I have found up in the woods that I'm sure is something. Does that make any sense? It's stuff that you've seen before, but you're not sure what its identity is, that I'm going to figure out. I've got plenty of nuts here, hickory nuts, walnuts. They didn't bear this year. They did last year, but they didn't this year. But just here and there, sporadically. I've got acorns. There's all kinds of different trees that we have that are holistic, been able to be used holistically. Willow bark, which is something that I tried to get started this year over here, and I tell you what, do not fertilize willow trees. Because I did, and it was a natural fertilizer. It was a fish emulsion fertilizer, and I put a little bit on it because it started, you could tell it was starting to sprout and have it do its thing, and I did, and it killed it. So if you ever try to get willow going, you need to really figure out what it can handle and what it can't handle, because it can't handle fish emulsion fertilizer, and I had it weak at that, so I don't know. So I'm gonna get that re-going this coming spring, because my dad's got plenty of that I can get started. And you can make an aspirin out of it, which maybe if we didn't live in such a world that we take Tylenol and it does a different effect, you might notice it more, but I couldn't tell real good that it done a whole lot for me. And I'll probably do a thing over the jewelweed, just because I've found out mixed things about what people think about jewelweed, and there's some things that I know to be a fact, and there's things that I don't know to be a fact that I want to go over with you with. And know that about me, that whenever I try to give you something, some kind of information, if it's something I'm not sure about, I'll tell you, hey, you need to research this more, blah, blah, blah. And if it's something I'm confident about, you'll know that by the way I talk. But even still, don't take anything that I say as concrete. I still wish you would do your own research, because I definitely don't want to steer anybody wrong. And everybody's different. Their body chemistries and stuff like that is all different. So, tiptoe into this stuff. Don't just take anybody, and not just me, but just anybody's word for it out there. Experiment for yourself. Don't be careful. Anyway, God bless you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.